Welcome friends. In this video, we are going to talk about the process view of supply chain. So what are the processes usually the supply chain is having it? We will discuss in detail in this particular video. Come on, let's go deeper into this video and know the various view of supply chain management. Before we go deeper into this concept, let me know about once again what is the sequence of processes happening in the supply chain. The supply chain is a sequence of processes and flows that take place within and between different stages and combine to fill a customer need or a product, need for a product. The two ways to view the processes performed in supply chain are, number one is cycle view, another one is the push and pull view. The processes in the supply chain are dividing into two categories depending on whether they are executed in response to the customer order or in anticipation of the customer order. Pull processes are initiated by a customer order, whereas push processes are initiated and performed in anticipation of a customer order. So this is the basic difference you should know about it regarding the push order and the pull order. Push order is the process initiated by the customer order. So the customer might have been already ordered it and you are pushing it. Whereas in the pull order, you are expecting that in this particular scenario, this particular product may be asked by the customer in your future. It may be a day or an hour, within an hour, or it may be in the next day or something like that. It will be anticipated. You will be expecting the customer order and you will be initiating the process. So the process view of supply chain can be categorized into two. One is about the push view and the pull view, and the other one is about the cycle view. Right, in the cycle view, what we will do? So cycle view performed at the interfaces between successive supply chain stages. So there will be different stages of supply chain we discussed in the earlier videos. So here what we are going to say is we will be just performed at the interfaces between two successive in the sense one and the next one. Between these two, for example 1 and 2 and 2 and 3, 3 and 4 likewise. Between the two successive supply chain stages, what will happen? So that will be scrutinized or analyzed here. So in this process in supply chain, this divided into series of cycles. This is not one cycle happening back down, it will be happened in series of cycles. So we will go deeper into the cycle view process and we will find out what are all their different avenues available for it and how the cycle view is expanding or how it is moving it towards the next stage or next process. So the cycle view is nothing but it will be going in these type of cycler phases. When you talk about the cycling, you have to talk about the components or the people, those who are acting on it. So the cycle view defines the process involved and the owners of each process. The process in the supply chain is divided into a series of cycles. Already I told you. Cycles are performed in the different stages, and it is performed at the interface between two successive stages of supply chain. So supply chain can be broken into four major cycles. Number one is the process cycle and customer cycle, replenishment cycle, manufacturing cycle, procurement cycle. All these cycles we will be discussing in the cycle view. This is what consecutive cycle views, how it will be depicted. This is what the depiction of the process view of cycle chain. Cycle view, the chain in the supply chain. What is happening here? Actually, the customer cycle order or the customer order cycle is now between these two categories. One is about the customer as well as the retailer. Likewise, the other chain talks, replenishment talks about the retailer and the distribution. The process which is going on in between these two people is called a replenishment. And in the manufacturing cycle, the manufacturer, the role between the manufacturer and the distributor. So he will be manufacturing it, and now he is going to send it to the distribution channel. So this is what happening here. Then you can talk about the procurement cycle. The manufacturer will be procuring the material from the supplier. So for that, what are all the supply chain processes he is doing it. So this is the way the cycle view of the supply chain is processing. It is processing with all these people, with the customer, with the retailer, with the distributor, with the manufacturer, with the supplier. And each cycle occurs at the interface between two successive stages. You can see that successive stages. So this is what it talks about. Cycle view clearly defines the process involved, and the owners of each process specify the roles and responsibilities of each member and the desired outcome of each process. So when you are talking about this first cycle, procurement cycle, there are two parties involved here. One is the supplier, the other one is the manufacturer. This is the two stages. Initially, the products will be supplied as raw material to the manufacturer. In this place, how he is going to supply it? He must, what is the chain he is going to adapt? He must plan for that, and he will be sending the material to the manufacturer. In turn, the manufacturer is also responsible for the receiving of the material and the sending up of the payment and other details. Likewise, after finishing the product, he will be sending the same to the distributor, and the distributor will be accepting it, and the way how the manufacturer is willing to sell his product, and he will also make adjustments accordingly. Then the next one is about he will have so many retailer, and every retailer will have their own specific supply chains. So he must adapt to all these retailers, those who are in this process, and this distributor must decide with each and everybody separately. Sometimes the distributor may follow a single chain and a single cycle of supply, and in turn the supplier may be coming, and the retailers may be coming to his shop and getting the material through his own vehicle or to the hiring vehicle. The transportation mode may be different, the payment mode may be different, and the supply chain design may be different. Likewise, the retailer also have different type of customers. Anyway, it is occurring between each stage, between the two consecutive stages, and the interface between two successive stages. That is what I call it as. This is a way the cycle view or the process is happening in the supply chain. This is the process view of the supply chain with regard to cycle view. And we discussed in the first slide about the push and the pull view. See, the procurement and the manufacturing replenishment cycles will be in the push process, and in the pull process you will have a customer order cycles. So this is already I explained to you. There is a connection in this. This is already the people, those who are ordering it will be doing it. If you want it, once again I will repeat that. Push process will have two different stages. One is the procurement of manufacturing and replenishment cycles. Here you will have customer order cycles. This is in the pull. They must use the push strategy. So the manufacturer is identified, the replenishment cycle is identified, the supplier is identified, the distributor is identified, and they will be just pushing the process. Here they are anticipating the purchase of the customers, and the customer order cycle is expected, and they are pulling the order cycle here. This is customer order arrives. This is what the customer order. A close connection between the design and the management of supply chain flows. So product may be information and cash, all these things are traveling in this particular cycle, and the supply chain will lead to success after considering all these things. Playing significant role in the success or the failure of the firm is entirely depends upon this push and pull strategies or the push and pull processes which is going on in this process view. And the flows in the supply chain helps in the different roles which is already mentioned by the retailer or by the supplier or maybe the manufacturer, or it may be a distributor what are all their roles and what are all their duties, what are all their responsibilities, everything they will be designing it and they will be processing it accordingly. And this is what the pull and the push process all about. And the procurement details and other things will be coming in the pushes process, and the customer order and distribution centers will be coming in the pull orders or the pull strategies or pull views, we call it as. Then about the linking strategy. So what is the linking competitive strategy or the business and the supply chain strategies? The competition is no longer between the companies, it is between supply chains. So who is going to supply it very fastly, that only matters nowadays, because the JIT principles and other things are there in the supply chain. So who is going to do it in a better cost, who is going to do it in a better vehicle or better in safety, time managed positions, how rapidly they are going to respond to their order, that matters. So the competitive strategy defines the set of customer needs which a firm seeks to satisfy through its products and services. It includes low cost, rapid response, product differentiation, etc. etc. So supply chain strategy determines the nature of material procurement, transportation of materials, in what vehicle you are going to send it, how fast you are going to send it, and what is the safety of the material, or what is the quality of the material, how it will be. Already I talked about the chocolate manufacturing companies. They want a very cool packing, all those things. How they want this to be transported, how the shipment should be, and oil leakages should not be there. So those type of transportation material also should be considered here. And manufacture of product or the creation of service and distribution of the product. So supply chain strategy fully determines the nature of material procurement, transportation materials, manufacturing of the product or the creation of the services, and also the distribution of the product. And consistency and support between the supply chain strategy, competitive strategy, and other functional strategies is important, because the strategies are nowadays focusing on the supply chain process. It is giving more importance who is going to give the supply very easily, very quickly, and with a lower cost. So that will be dealt here in this competitive strategy. So there is a linkage between the competitive and the supply chain strategies. So this is what the linkage we have to talk about it. So your strategies should also be satisfy the processes of supply chain. Then about supply chain drivers, otherwise we call it as the supply chain performance. How the drivers are motivating to the supply chain performance. See, every supply chain should focus on two different things. One is about their efficiency level, another one is about their effectiveness. By what way they can make it very effective or efficient or responsive. Number one, the supply drive is the inventory. The inventory should be available all the time, which should be supplied to them as soon as they are just presenting their order. And the transportation facilities, what are all the facilities which you are having it already in your product supply. Especially in the retail industry, it is a very big deal nowadays. If they are ordering for 150 products at a time, the same variety, same quality with the same price, the online suppliers, retailers must be ready to supply it. Within a short span of time, they may be asking for a college cultural festival, they may be demanding a set of 150 dresses, t-shirts equally. They want it, or the branded to be the brand to be fixed in that. So all these material should be ready so that they can print it and they can give it. Transportation is very important. Within 1 day or 2 days, they may be asking the material to you. So how you are going to send the t-shirt to them? Through any bus luggages, or through any private car availability, or through parcel services, courier services. How you are going to just send it? And about the information, what are the informations which you are going to send it to them, that is also matters, and the facilities which you are going to respond. So the entire supply chain performance is focusing on two different angles. One is the efficiency, another one is the responsiveness. How quick you are responding to them. If you are not responding to them, automatically the orders will be cancelled. So it is also based on these supply chain drivers. So the drivers are playing a very important role in supply chain performance, and to achieve the goal of supply chain performance with efficiency, maximum efficiency, with a greater responsiveness. We should also concentrate on the factors which are the drivers which are available in the existing market where these determine the supply chain performance. For each driver, the managers must make trade-offs between efficiency, that is the cost, and the responsiveness. The drivers of the supply chain include the inventory, we call it as the inventory. Number one, it consists of all raw materials, work in progress, and finished goods within a supply chain. And inventory maintained in the supply chain because of mismatches between the supply and the demand, and increasing inventory gives higher responsiveness but result in higher inventory carrying cost. So it should be balanced within that. And the facilities. Facility is a place where inventory is stored and manufactured and are assembled it may be. Hence, the facilities can be categorized into production facilities and the storage facilities, and the facilities related to decisions involve the location, capacity, manufacturing, methodology, or the technology, or the warehousing, and these things should be decided by the supply chain managers, because this plays a very vital role. Already about the printing of t-shirts for the college cultural function, I gave you an example. You can fit into that and you can identify how it is matching with all these supply chain drivers. Then about the information. It consists of the data and the result of analysis regarding inventory, transportation, facilities, how you are going to send it, whether through WhatsApp group, immediately creating a WhatsApp group and you are sending the information, catching the leader of the person, or sending the payment through GPay or through online transfer, the RTGS, what are the methodologies you are going to send about the payments, and what are the, how it is going to be shifted, and customer orders must be executed with a very quick response with a low cost, and the funds transfers also equally important. Good information which you are giving it drives good decisions. So these are all the supply chain drivers. A manager should look into the process and trade-off between efficiency as well as the responsiveness. And if he is very particular in all these things, keeping the inventory safe and the facilities in a proper manner and information in a suitable way, then he can manage very easily the positions and supply in a greater response, which will give them a lot of benefits in the process of retail industry. Then about the transportation. Already I spoke about the transportation matters to you. You might have been knowing it. It involves moving inventory from one point in the chain to the another point. A number of decisions have to be taken in designing a supply chain regarding transportation. And I gave the example of that. There are 6 basic modes of transportations are allowed, and these things will be discussed in the forthcoming videos detailing. Now I am just giving what are all the available sources of transportation. One is the airway, another one is the trucks on the roadways and the railways, and the shipments and pipelines. Electronic transportation is also like the newest mode for music, documents transfers, all those things are in the electronics transportation mode. This is a new area where you have to include it. And the telecommunication and other things, the latest news information from PTI to the local channel. So all these things are the 6 basic modes of transportations are available. We will discuss in detail about that, how this is affecting the supply chain management process. And next about, we are going to talk about the barriers of the supply chain management, or the obstacles of the supply chain management. What are all the obstacles or the barriers, how it includes, what are all the matters to be discussed in that. Lack of top management support, or non-aligned strategic operator philosophies, inabilities or unwillingness to share information, lack of trust among the supply chain members, unwillingness to share risk and rewards, inflexible organization systems and processes, cross-functional conflicts, inconsistent or inadequate performance measures, resistance to change, the lack of training for the new minds or the new people mindsets and skills. This matters a lot. These are all some of the barriers, we call it as. We will go very deeper into this, and this will formulate the strategies. Before formulating the strategy also, you have to go through all these things. These are all some of the supply chain management barriers which should be considered for the decision making process. Next, about the very positive point which we can focus on are the 7 principles of supply chain management. What are the 7 principles, or what are the matters to be discussed in that? Create new distribution networks and channels and diversify your suppliers. The suppliers should not be in one particular place. If they are in one particular place, you cannot resist with them. You cannot always fight with them to supply the material. So what you have to do, you have to diversify your suppliers. This is the major principle. You should keep it in your mind while you are formulating your supply chains, especially in the retail. And a lot of suppliers are available online nowadays. So retailers now, what Amazon, Flipkart, again and again, I'm telling the same example to you. They are doing it. India Mart is also an example. A lot of suppliers are available. You can even services, Just Dial, you can go and check the Just Dial. You can get lots and lots of suppliers. Diversifying the suppliers will improve your efficiency level of supply chain management. And create new distribution networks and channels. This is the way you can create your own channel and accommodate the other people, those who are having the same problem. Nowadays, the sharing of the vehicle is one such example, and the share autos are a result of such services. Rapido is one such service where they are doing it very cheapest mode. Ola autos, Ola Uber taxis, all these things are creating a new distribution networks in the form of new ideas and channels. Use real-time analytics to measure volatility of demand. You always analyze the real-time fact. You should not do it with some statistical data mining process, all those things with the fake informations. You should not predict the demand of the market. Nobody expected that during COVID. Even the village people started purchasing online for their purposes, and even the groceries they started purchasing online nowadays. So these things are unimaginable. People never predicted earlier, but they measure it very properly with the data tools which is available. Adapt a fast and flexible pipeline planning system. You have to pipeline the planning system. That means that it should be regularized in a proper mode, and it should be in a straightened line. That there should not be any deviations after preparing the pipeline or the planning cycles. And manage supply and the demand as a flow. So you should try to implement, always every company want to do the JIT. So the supply as well as the demand should be in the proper propositions. There should not be too much of inventory. We discussed already in the drivers part of it. And improve inventory visibility. So inventory visibility is more important, especially for the online retailers. What are all the suppliers you are having it, and what are all the products that should be properly displayed. Misho and other Myntra, all these people are going on putting, if you are asking for one particular product, they will be giving variety of suppliers and they will be showing their own pictures of the materials. So these things are the 7 major principles of supply chain management that should be taken care of by a supply chain manager while he will be focusing on the process. And that process will give a greater efficiency and also to your model of responsiveness. And the SCM versus traditional purchasing methodology. So traditional purchasing usually focuses on initial cost. They will never talk about the other cost. But ACM focuses on total cost of ownership. How you are going to procure the material, how you are going to reach the material safely with quicker timings, all those things. And traditional purchasing focusing on the flow of goods and information from immediate supplier to the immediate customer. It will never talk about the manufacturing cycle or the procurement cycle and all. But ACM focuses on the flow of goods and information from initial supplier to the end consumer. And traditional purchasing tries to negotiate the price that is best for the purchaser. But ACM focuses on negotiating a price that is best for the entire supply chain. When he started preparing a model, the entire model he will be formulating it and he plan it accordingly. So this is what we have to talk about the supply chain advantages or the main impacts of supply chain in the modern retail industry. What are the ethics in the supply chain? So opportunities are for unethical behaviors are enormous and temptations are high. So it is because of e-tailing online. There are a lot of opportunities for to be an unethical, but that will not last long in the industry. Many companies have strict rules and codes of conduct that define acceptable behavior. So when you are a supplier or when you are a retailer, when you are a distributor, you should be abide by the rules and regulations, the strict rules and regulations and the code of conduct defined by each and every company. And Institute for Supply Chain Management has developed a detailed set of principles and standards for ethical behaviors. So that ethical behaviors should be followed in the supply chain preparations. And the principles and standards for ethical supply chain conduct, loyalty to your organization, justice to those with whom you deal, faith in your profession, avoid the intent and appearance of unethical or compromising practices in relationships, actions, or in your communications, and demonstrate loyalty to the employer by diligently following the lawful instructions of the employer using responsive or reasonable care and granted authority. The avoidance of personal business, any personal business or professional activity that would create a conflict between a personal interest and the interest of the employer, then that is again to be mitigated. The points why I have to talk about the ethical behavior is that when you are formulating your view itself or principles, when you have started following about that, you should know about all these matters. And principles and standards for ethical management conduct should be there. And for that, avoid soliciting or accepting money, loans, credits, or preferential discounts, and the acceptance of gifts, entertainment, favors, or services from present or the potential suppliers that might influence your appropriate influence the management decisions. So don't try to accept that. Suppose a customer manufacturer is giving you, if you are selling 1,500 lots, you will be given a coupon to go to Singapore. So that will be creating lot of attractions, but that is not the right way to decide your chain or your standard of making the supply. And handle confidential and priority information with due care and proper consideration of ethical and legal notifications or ramifications, the government regulations. Online frauds, we know about it. So the fund transfers. Principles in the standards for ethical supply chain management. Why we have to delve in that. The next chapter we are going to talk about that. So let me give a small introduction about that to you. That is what we are discussing. These matters in this particular point of view. What is the principal standards which is given there, which we should follow it? The principles and the standards for supply chain management conduct should be in such a way that it should be ethical. What way it is ethical? Avoid soliciting or accepting money, loans, credits. As I explained already to you, You should not go for the welfare of your own line or the profit. You should also do the business ethically. Or the preferential discounts if you're getting it, and the acceptance of gift or entertainment favors, all these things will lead to unethical moves in the market, which may in turn exploit the customers. That should not give you a long business returns. So this may influence or appear influence the supply chain decisions also. And handle confidential or priority information with due care, like fund transfers, customer account details, customer database, everything. And proper consideration of ethical and legal ramifications and government regulations. Promote positive supplier relationship. For that, you should not go for a get together or for party or often visiting the customer place and creating a relationship like behavior. But you should have a courtesy in all things, and it should not be with a partiality. With some customer you may be very close, and some retailers you may be very close, some supplier you may be very close, and others you are not like that. So it should be impartially. You have to behave with the suppliers and avoid improper reciprocal agreements. So those type of things are ethical way of conducting the supply chain management systems. So thank you for watching the video, and we will proceed the further details about the principles and the ethical way of conducting business in the forthcoming videos also. So thank you once again. Thank you for joining with me. Keep on learning with me. For other sources, you have to follow my PDF material and also the extra notes which I have provided to you. Keep on learning, grow, we all grow together.